Barefooters who prioritize quality construction methods and materials rejoice. We finally have the Gym Green Anatomical Last to talk to you about today. Hey folks, I'm glad you're here. My name is Chris, and this is the Sons of Sever YouTube channel where there's no such thing as bad weather, only bad gear. Today, my brother Eric and I are going to be talking about the new anatomical Barefoot African Ranger. We loved the original Barefoot African Ranger. There wasn't anything else on the market that was quite like it, but we and many other people had the same issue with it, and it's that it wasn't very foot-shaped. It was a little too rounded. It really pushed the big toe in towards the other toes, which wasn't very comfortable. So we then began a campaign with our audience to push Gym Green towards more anatomical last, and they caved. They started talking in our comment section with some of our audience, and we really did, as a community, push Gym Green into this decision, and I think it's one that's going to pay off really, really well for them with this new anatomical last. We're going to bounce back and forth talking about our likes and our dislikes about this new Barefoot African Ranger from Gym Green. If you're interested in jumping around to different parts of the video, there are timestamps down in the description, and if there's any questions that you have about this shoe that we don't answer, make sure to let us know in the comment section, and we'll try to answer those for you. But for now, I'm going to pass things over to Eric, and he is going to kick us off with his first like for the new anatomical Barefoot African Ranger.
All right, so Chris is gonna get to the shape of the shoe. Obviously, that's the thing that we love most about these things, but I did wanna take a moment just to recognize Gym Green for listening. And that's such an amazing thing for a company to do. We're really impressed with the way that they took feedback from the audience. Chris talked about it. They got into the comment section and responded to all of you guys that were looking for a more anatomical last, and they definitely delivered there. They didn't have to do that. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of money and machines to really change up the shape of your shoe, and they have done that for us, and we're so appreciative. So I really like that Gym Green listens to the customer base, and they update their shoes based off of that feedback.
The first thing we have to mention when it comes to this new anatomical Ranger is going to be the shape. Gym Green nailed it with this new anatomical last, in our opinion. It's supposed to be a 4E overall, and I've got plenty of space to spread out my toes. But also, biggest thing here is going to be the actual shape of it. They did push that big toe out, so it is way more straight. And then we do have a bit of taper. If your toes are kind of more on the boxy side, maybe this still won't work for you, but it's gonna work for a lot more people than it did originally. We are a huge fan of this new last from Gym Green. We hope to see it in the Stockman. We hope to see it in the Trooper. We hope to see it in everything that they make here in the future.
All right, next thing that I really like about this thing is this new African outsole that they have on it. So it's the same outsole that we saw on the mock toes that we reviewed last week. But the thing that I really like about it, now that I've gotten a little more experience with it, is the versatility that I'm getting out of it. So it is pretty at home on trails. I like these lugs that they have. It's a totally different pattern than anything we've seen before, but it does a good job gripping in a bunch of different situations. I've been taking it out in what I think are comparable to the situations that it's been designed for. Really loose dirt and rocks and things to step on, steep hills, and it's been doing a good job. But I also think that it's been designed to shine in casual situations too. This definitely does not feel out of place just on the street or on the sidewalk. So it's always great when a company can come out with an outsole that does a good job on the trail and off the trail. Obviously, that's going to help me use this boot in a bunch of different situations.
The next like that I have for this new Barefoot African Ranger is going to be the mixture of quality construction and materials with proper barefoot features that really give you all day comfort. The fact that we now have the construction methodology of Gym Green, which is tried and true. Many people know the quality that is here when it comes to construction and materials, mixed with a near zero drop construction with that nice wide foot-shaped toe box. That's awesome. It's not something you see all the time in the industry. A lot of barefoot companies are going for the thinnest and the lightest, and they're sacrificing on the longevity of their shoes. There is a place for that. There's a place for Tanuki Umis from Wildling and how thin and ground feely those are. There is also a place, in my opinion, a very important one, for a company like Gym Green doing what they've done with this shoe. So I love to see this specific balance.
All right, so for my last like here is just the price for the quality that you're getting. And I think that's where Jim Green is gonna beat out its US counterparts. If you look at like Texerado or Nix, those boots are like $400 or $500. These new AnatomX Barefoot African Rangers are coming in at $220. That's gonna vary just a little bit based off of the leather that you choose, but that's an amazing value to get a boot that's been constructed so well, and now that has those amazing barefoot features to it with that anatomical toe box. You really can't lose by going with Jim Green.
The last like that I want to bring up for these new Barefoot African Rangers with the more anatomical last on them is going to be that they went with a higher volume. That's good because it's inclusive for more people's feet. If you need an insole to fill that space, which Eric and I both did, we've got medium volume feet. We used insoles to fill up that space, and it hasn't been an issue for us. If you are a lower volume foot person, these will still work for you if you find the right filler underfoot. With that, for whatever reason, as I'm coming downhill on this hike, I'm not having any issues with my toes sliding into the front of the boot and smacking the front, which is something I usually experience with extra wide shoes. These are definitely extra wide. They've got a lot of volume in them. I have filled some of that volume with an insole, and yet somehow my foot's not sliding forward and hitting the front of the shoe. I'm a huge fan of all of this. With our likes of the new anatomical African Ranger out of the way, it's time to get into our dislikes. But first we want to mention, obviously, we love what Jim Green does. We did their mock toes last week that I could not say enough good things about. If you're interested in checking out a company that has super high quality construction and materials with now fantastic barefoot features, make sure to use the link down in the description to get over to their website. As awesome as these new Barefoot African Rangers are, there are some products out there that will take the experience to the next level. The first one we'd recommend is a solid pair of toe socks so that you can take advantage of all that nice roomy toe box. Our favorite is Creeper's toe socks. We have tried 20 plus different brands of toe socks at this point, and they are still our favorites. They have the best mix of comfort and durability in our opinion, and they just released this new boot sock, which is the perfect pair with a pair of Jim Green mock toes or anatomical African Rangers. They're a little bit heavier weight, especially in the heel, so these things should last a really long time and give you lots and lots of comfort out on the trails. If you're interested in checking out Creeper's toe socks, make sure to use the link down in the description because it'll auto apply a 10% off discount code to your order at checkout. As I mentioned in my likes, we are dealing with a little extra volume in these anatomical African Rangers. We wanted to fill some of that volume up and maybe add a little bit more comfort and squish underfoot. So we grabbed ourselves some insert insoles from Anvil. These are their boot breaker insoles. I believe they come in 2mm increments, so 2, 4, 6. I don't remember how high they go up. You can go and check them out at the link down in the description, but they do a good job at filling some of that void and adding a little bit of comfort underfoot. They're also completely zero drop. They don't add any contouring. They mold to your foot really nice. Again, go and check out the boot breakers from Anvil at the link down in the description.
All right, talking about my dislikes when it comes to the new AnatomX Barefoot African Ranger, the only thing I can think of, and it's more of just like an observation that I made, since we're taking a deep dive with these things, they don't have a toe cap like the other Barefoot African Rangers did. Now, I don't know why that is, if that's just because maybe it made it look way too wide and too clownish in their opinion, because if you threw a toe cap on there, then that would give it some extra right there. But I do miss having that protection. It was almost 5mm of leather that was on your toe with the original Barefoot African Ranger. So just keep that in mind. These ones do not appear to be coming with a toe cap. I don't know if that'll be a custom option that can maybe come sometime in the future. That's always a possibility with Jim Green.
Getting into my dislikes for this anatomical African Ranger, I really only have one, and it's not something I remember experiencing on the original Barefoot African Ranger, and it's that there's a little bit of cutting sensation in the ankles on the hike that I took these on, and it was really only on the downhill, so that might have had something to do with it, just the way my foot was shifting forward and bringing my ankle forward. In the shoe, the cuff was kind of cutting into my ankles. Obviously not a sensation I'm going to enjoy. Hopefully it's just break-in related. That'll break out of these at some point, but obviously not something I liked during my hike in these.
All right, so when it comes to my final opinion of the new AnatomX Barefoot African Ranger from Jim Green. Would I recommend these for other people? And absolutely, with almost no reservations at all. The shape of Jim Green's old shoes was always a little bit of a sticking point for me and Chris. So I've got my Barefoot Stockman out here so that you can take a look at the difference between the toe boxes there. So clearly this one is more wide and more foot shaped. This one did a pretty dang good job to start with, but now they've really given your big toe some room to splay out with the new last, and I really appreciate that about it. So as far as the heritage barefoot space goes, I think Jim Green is back on top because you have this amazing build quality. We've known that from Jim Green from the start. Now you've got these amazing barefoot features that also include that awesome toe box. And they're coming in at a really good price point too. So $220 for this build quality, for these barefoot features, I think is unbeatable in the space right now. Like I said before, I think Jim Green is back on top.
Getting into my final opinion on this new anatomical African Ranger. Would I recommend this to somebody who is looking for a barefoot shoe with the highest quality construction methods and materials? Absolutely. Jim Green absolutely nailed this. They were onto something with the barefoot African Trooper. With the anatomical African Trooper, they have completely cornered this market, in my opinion. This last is awesome. It looks good. It feels amazing. It's very foot shaped, and I want to see it in all of their shoes. The only way that's going to happen is if you guys go and grab yourselves a pair. So definitely use the link down in the description to go and grab a pair, because that's super helpful to us and what we're trying to do here on the channel. But even if you don't use our link, go and grab yourself a pair to show Jim Green that you appreciate them coming out with this new anatomical last, because that will push them to put it in the Stockman, to put it in the Nuzman, to put it in the Trooper. We will have anatomical lasts for all of those, and that is what I want to see out of Jim Green. This is just the start, and it's a fantastic start. I love this shoe. It performs fantastic. It feels really good on foot overall, and I'd highly recommend it. Go show your support of this new anatomical last from Jim Green and grab yourself a pair. I guarantee you, you won't regret it. Folks, if you like this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. All those things really help the channel out. If you're interested in any of the products that we talked about in this video, there will be links to them down in the description. If we have discount codes for any of those companies, they will be featured with the links. If you want to get more content from us, there are 3 different places you can get it. The first one is Patreon, where for $1 a month, you can get exclusive behind-the-scenes content we don't post anywhere else. If you want to be most up-to-date with what we are working on, make sure to follow us on Instagram, where we are constantly posting unboxing videos. Go follow us on Strava if you're interested in seeing mini reviews in real time of the products we're using and what we're using them for. Strava allows you to track and post about your different activities. We track and post about our runs, trail runs, hikes, paddleboarding, and weightlifting, and we do little mini reviews on the products we're using during those activities. Go follow us there, and we will follow you back. We appreciate your view, and as always, we will catch you in the mountains.